Aerodrome Finance price update. Emergency video here, guys. I'm traveling and I want to take some time off here, crypto and the entire crypto space. Whereas crypto is kind of developing here in this meme coin gambling casino, which I'm not really a fan of. Deep in, DeFi, all this actually use case, utility stuff is not catching real bid here. Bitcoin and meme coins are flying, and Aerodrome actually currently correcting to important levels here to the downside, unfortunately. And we'll cover today briefly what is happening, what is the next steps here, what are the next steps here for Aerodrome, and what price target to expect here in the short term. As you might have noticed, in the short term, Aerodrome was actually one of the few altcoins that actually pumped substantially here from the bottom here, 160%, super impressive, outperforming a lot of other ecosystems and tokens here, as some altcoins are not really moving here. So this move here from the lows actually gave me huge confidence that the appetite for Aerodrome is still there, despite the fact here this is taking off the consideration that actually in the background Aerodrome is absolutely winning, base is absolutely winning, TVL all-time high, usage all-time high, very bullish on base, and thus still super bullish here on Aerodrome. Nothing has changed here in this regard, okay, so keep that in mind. But of course, in the short term, altcoins are correcting again. Why is this happening? Aerodrome is correcting heavily here and is actually losing important key levels. So this is currently a swing trade market. Like, swing traders are currently in heaven. People who are holding also with conviction, of course, are going to be rewarded here, especially next year. But swing traders especially are in absolute heaven. Why? Because you need to take profit here, especially at highs. Especially then when most people are screaming for new all-time highs. This is usually the time to take profit, and I always kept telling you that in my videos. Now, if you are a conviction holder, this doesn't change anything for you for Aerodrome, because the price targets we have for Aerodrome are still intact here. Nothing has changed. But in the short term, you can actually increase your Aerodrome position if you trade those positions correctly, which is a very hard thing to do. Most people get dragged, so I'm not actually recommending that. If you have conviction, just simply hold your bag. Despite the fact that the volatility is super high, you need to deal with this volatility. Pretty simple here. This is the price you pay for holding a crypto asset here that has crazy upside potential. You need to be able to ride this bull market, which is very volatile, which is very hard to do. And again, next year, I think is going to be the time here where those altcoins are going to catch the real bit. Okay, what do I mean by that? Currently, of course, we have periods here, periods where altcoins and Aerodrome are catching a bit, but you need to keep in mind this liquidity here is just simply liquidity that is shuffling from one ecosystem to another. So they're seeking trades here. It's basically the same liquidity here flushing around those ecosystems. The only new liquidity that's coming in is coming into Bitcoin here, as people, especially traditional investors here, are seeking exposure to crypto space, but they want to minimize their downside risk. So this is why they choose Bitcoin here, as you have exposure to the upside, to this narrative here, Bitcoin being the new digital gold, but you also are minimizing your downside risk. And this is reflected in the Bitcoin dominance, guys. So this is super important to understand. We are currently at the market, time in the market where Bitcoin is catching the new liquidity, Bitcoin is catching this bid, and altcoins are dragging along, but each time, Bitcoin just shows a little bit of sign of weakness, altcoins drop substantially, and this is also currently happening here with Aerodrome. Again, in the background, nothing has changed. Super bullish, even more bullish than ever before on Aerodrome actually. But you have to keep in mind, in this semi-bearish environments, inflation actually matters. Okay, in bullish environments, inflation doesn't really matter. Okay, people just buy token price and people just buy narrative. But you have to keep in mind, once we flip into this bearish time frame or bearish sentiment, tokenomics matter. This is why Aerodrome actually is super volatile also to the downside. Now keep in mind, again, my price targets are still intact here. Minimum $3 to $5 to $10. We have to go day by day, week by week. But again, in my personal opinion, this real alt season will only start most probably next year. But the good message is here, we are very close to next year. So a couple more months, patience, understand volatility of holding those assets, understand where Aerodrome is heading here, understand where the positioning of Coinbase base and Aerodrome is in this space, and just take a look at the metrics, which of course I will keep you updated here on a weekly basis. Keep in mind, I'm taking a break here, currently not in the environment I'm currently usually in, so the quality is not going to be the best, but I wanted to update my community. Let me know your thoughts here below. What do you think here? Where are we heading here? Where are altcoins heading? Of course, I can be wrong. And the alt season here can actually be around the corner. Who knows? Bitcoin dominance is actually very close here to 60%. And there is, of course, also a possibility that actually alt season starts pretty soon. Either way, you need to be positioned somehow. And again, the best positioning is have your bag here, whether it's going to be Aerodrome or whatever altcoin you actually prefer, but also make sure to have a cash position in order to be prepared and in order to be ready for once maybe the market actually dips one more time. Best case scenario, and this is the best case and best way to go about it in my personal opinion. Long story short, price targets are still intact. Metric wise, Aerodrome is in a super attractive position, base is in a very healthy position, and the only thing that needs to catch up here is actually new liquidity coming into the space, and then those price targets we have for Aerodrome are still intact and nothing has changed, okay? Keep in mind, of course, to the downside, we can be super volatile, and you need to be able to actually calculate that risk, and you need to be able to handle that risk and handle that volatility. And if you can't, make sure to always take profit, especially if you are in substantial amount of profit. Take chips off the table, because if you don't take profit, some other person will take profit, and you're going to be with the one left behind with crypto coins that can devaluate very fast here, especially in bearish scenarios. Okay, so this is pretty much it. Let me know below here. I'm out of breath, too much food here in the recent days. Let me know what you think. Are you still bullish? Are you bearish here on altcoins? Are you bearish on Aerodrome? Do you still see potential here after holding for so many months? And I want to add here, have patience, guys, okay? Aerodrome already, zoom out, performed absolutely crazy well from the lows here. Actually, life-changing amount of money was created here in the Aerodrome ecosystem or in the Aerodrome play. So you need to have patience. Patience is going to be rewarded most probably. And again, the only thing giving me confidence to say that here to my community are the metrics here in the background, absolutely dominating, growth here, especially for the TVL, and also the volume here speaks for itself, okay? At the end of the day, guys, make sure to do your own research. Super important. Be bullish on yourself. That yields the most returns. And the most important thing is, as always, don't get wrecked.